right, welcome back. This is Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI, here at Cello's in Metairie. I'm your head coach for PRI, Rick Daly, and we're here along with your Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nato. And today we are joined by the head football coach of the Brother Martin Crusaders, Coach Mark Bonis. Mark, it is so great to have you and your players on with us today.
Thanks for having us on. We're excited to be here today.
Coach, it's always special when you're on PRI with us. You're in the 8th year at Brother Martin, but you had a big decision before the season got underway. You almost took a college assistant job, and how tough was that decision to come back home?
You know, something I've always wanted to do. I started working in college, enjoyed it. Some things happened where I found myself coaching high school, and then the opportunity presented itself. So I was excited about the opportunity, but when it came down to it, timing and family, when you look at things, really made the decision, the best decision for me as well as my family.
Because it's very difficult to leave here. I mean, if you're from here, because in the 3 years I was at Tulane in 82, 83, and 84, I had a similar decision. Did I want to go traipsing around the country chasing jobs, or did we want to settle down? And it's very difficult to leave here.
It is the people, you know, the community, and then also, which I hope my guys know, you know, at Brother Martin, is the fact that we've done a lot of things, a lot of good things. We've established a good program, but we're not done yet. You know, we talk about finishing. I think we have a great foundation, but there's still some things, a lot of things that I want to do, not just for our kids now, but also for our alums. Guys that have been a part of it, you know, blood, sweat, and tears into this program, and then also our future Brother Martin players.
You've been on the show 5 years, and recruiting is such a big thing to a lot of people. How close do you monitor the recruiting process with your players, Mark?
For me, you know, I monitor it. The whole game's changed with social media. I think the coaches at one point, early on in my career, coaches had a real big impact, or a bigger impact on it. For me, now that the media is involved with things, or social media is involved with things, it's making sure my kids are treated correctly, and making sure that they're informed, they're educated on their decisions, and at the end of the day, I'm never going to give them advice on where I would go. For me, it's simply having them list things, the positives, the negatives, and then they and their families making a decision that's best for them. You know, even when it comes to mom and dad or me, place that we want our student athletes to go, when it all comes down to it, they're the ones that are going to have to put the time in, put the quote unquote 20 hours of work week in, and the only way that they're going to be as successful as possible is if they're truly happy. So that's what we want for our players. But the big thing, like I said, just kind of summing that up, is making sure kids are treated correctly in the recruiting process, they're informed, and then they make the best decision for themselves.
And that they are not influenced by someone who doesn't have a stake in the process.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, I'm on a continuous crusade against street agents, okay, and outside influence that have nothing to do with grades and records and getting them to the right place.
No
so
doubt about it.
you got to monitor that situation and make sure they're making their own decision. I could tell you for a fact, a group that was very happy that you came back when you did was the Brother Martin administration, because they had not gotten too deep into replacing you. I think they were dragging their feet a little bit there, giving you a chance to come back. But your coaching staff as well. But even within that coaching staff, you had to make a change from last year on the defensive side of the ball. Talk about, this is a pretty long, it's going to be a long answer, but talk about your coaching staff, but especially the change you made on defense.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you know, we talk about, you know, our program principles are team, tough, compete, finish. When I'm the head coach, that'll always be the program principles, all right? So when it comes to team, I believe this, and this is kind of where I'm going to go with it, is that team and family, all right? In order, Coach, you know, for the hours you spend, when you were a coach, that you spend doing this, you've got to, the biggest thing that you've got to look for is that common bond. You know, it's not always going to be, not everything's going to be great inside the offices, but you have to have a group of people that are willing, at the end of the day, to put their differences aside and make sure you're pulling towards the same common goal. We were getting there. We've established that. Think about where our program was, where we were struggling. So we've added, every year, we've added a different piece of the puzzle. John Norris, who was our defense coordinator, I think had brought us to a spot that was a very good spot. And then with our program progressing to where it is, you know, 2 years ago to the semifinals, last year to the quarterfinals, We reached out to a person who's had a lot of success in Lance Leday. I want to say he's been to 3 or 4 state championships at Destrehan. He's won a state championship in the Houston area at St. Pius. So I believe this, and talking with John and knowing where we wanted to go with the defense. And here was kind of the reasoning going into the changes within the defense. The way that offenses are changing now, you have to be able to be a little bit more multiple. Okay, the 4-man fronts, the modern day 4-man front defense, although very good defense, when you go into a season, there's a lot of adjustments that has to go in from opponent to opponent that are running spread offenses. So when you see our defense, it'll look like a 3-man front at times, or look at like a 4-man front at times. But the defense that Lance runs is very multiple and is very adaptable to the different offenses we'll see. We'll be able to play power style offenses or pro style offenses, but we'll also be able to line up without any adjustments. Okay, it's already built into play to go against spread style offenses. So for me, it was a no-brainer with how offenses are evolving and changing today. And but I'll tell you this, I mean, it says a lot for John Norris. I talked to John about it, and John was all in for it because he wanted what was best for our kids. He wanted what was best for the program. So we knew we knew the changes that had to be done. We had to get some logistics worked out. But I'll tell you this, in talking about the family aspect, our staff, although it's like I said, there's knockdown, drag out fights, on the weekends, like there would be with any family or any staff. But at the end of the day, when it comes time for Monday when it come out to practice, everybody's on the same page, and those are the things. Your student athletes can see that when you have a great X and O knowledge on your staff, you have guys that complement one another very well, and then you work cohesively. Your players see that, and I think so far up to this point, I think the results have spoken for themselves defensively.
In the last minute and a half or so, Mark, playing in the Catholic League, a lot of guys, close friends, mentors of yours. Sure. It's like brother against brother. Every week is kind of interesting. You may be on the phone with somebody the week before,
sure,
and then you're nose to nose against the following week. It's tough.
Yeah, tough. I don't say. I think that's what makes what Coach talked about leaving New Orleans tough. That's what makes it special. Right. It's what makes the Catholic League for me special. I talk to Mark Sondri on a regular basis. Coach Sondri coached me in high school. He's been a mentor. He'll call me occasionally, but I tell you this: Week 10, we're not talking to one another. Jay Roth, same type of bond there. He coached me when I was a sophomore in high school, and then Scott Bain's father, I have a special bond with him, being on his staff. He helped me kind of mold me into part of the coach I am today. So there's great respect, great admiration for those guys, and I've told them before how much I love them. For being there for me, I do this today because of their impact that they've had on me throughout the course of my life. So I really appreciate their help. And over the years. But for me, it's fun when you get to go against those guys on a weekly basis.
That is Coach Mark Bonis of the Brother Martin Crusaders. Big win last week at Sulphur to get things going again. And a big effort looking forward to Friday night against the Holy Cross Tigers. Thank you, Coach Bonis, for being here today. We've got some of their great players coming up after this timeout. This is Prep Recruiting Inside of PRI. We are at Cello's. We'll be back after this.